This is the Radio 1 News Update for November 10th. I'm Lady Mariam. In local news, at least 7 people, 3 bystanders and 4 firemen, fainted on Monday due to an ammonia leak in an ice factory in Mianche district, leading authorities to arrest the factory owner and evacuate workers. The leakage was caused by a careless welder who replaced a factory pipe. The welder fused the old pipe while gas was running, and the explosion created a lot of holes in the pipe. Trade unions and rights groups called on the government to amend or clarify sections of the recently passed union law, citing increasing bureaucratic hurdles to register new factory-level affiliates. Much like the NGO law, the trade union law requires unions to submit financial and activity reports annually. Failing to do so, the law empowers the Labor Ministry to file a lawsuit in a yet-to-be-established labor courts that could lead to penalties, including revocation of the union's registration. Leaders of dental organizations in Cambodia have made a plea for the Ministry of Health to reconsider a controversial decision to allow dental nurses to open their own oral health clinics. But officials were tight-lipped as to whether the ministry will rethink the recently established PRACA, dated October 16th. It allows dental nurses to set up their own clinics, with the caveat that they only offer emergency and basic services. However, experts say the ministry hasn't gotten a handle on the widespread proliferation of experts say the ministry hasn't yet gotten a handle on the widespread proliferation of unqualified traditional dentists, and the decision to also allow less trained nurses to open clinics could cause the country's dentistry field to collapse. Land Management Minister Chia Sopara extended a seemingly generous offer to residents of the White Building, although residents remained wary of a proposal to develop the dilapidated architectural icon. More than 550 residents attended a town hall-style meeting at the Ministry of Land Management to hear Sopara's offer of $60,000 to $70,000 in compensation for residents' ownership rights, or the promise of new homes on the same site in 3 to 4 years. Residents had previously said they hoped for $50,000 in compensation. Taking the option to temporarily relocate could result in a bigger payoff for those patient enough to wait. Residents who stayed temporarily at Sensok's Toktla commune for 3 or 4 years and then come back to live at their old place come back to live in the new place could see the value of their home go up to $300,000. Only one of an expected 3 refugees based on Australia's offshore detention center on the island of Nauru arrived in Cambodia. I'm from California. I almost said California. They arrived in Cambodia. The man, a refugee from Syria, touched down alone after Australian officials informed Cambodian authorities that the other 2 refugees, reported to be an Afghan and Pakistani, would not be on the flight. The family of the refugee is welcome to visit and apply to stay permanently. Angkor Wat is officially off limits for drone enthusiasts. The decision comes more than a year and a half after Phnom Penh authorities initiated a similar ban in the capital. A wasted and wanted criminal self-sabotaged his vehicle by setting it ablaze in the capital's Phnom Penh district, drawing the attention of authorities. The strung-out man was driving along Monivong Boulevard when he halted at an intersection and retrieved 4 bottles of gasoline from the truck bed and then doused the pickup with it and set it aflame. Local police and security guards quickly first extinguished the fire, then recognized the firebug as wanted for violence and illegal possession of a weapon. In regional news, the Philippine Supreme Court has ruled that former President Ferdinand Marcos can be buried in a cemetery for national heroes. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte had approved the burial, but several groups opposed his decision and went to court to stop it. The Supreme Court voted 9-5 to dismiss opposition requests to block the burial. In its decision, the court noted that while Marcos was not all good, he was, quote, not pure evil either. In international news, Donald Trump took the early electoral vote lead over Hillary Clinton as the candidates each claimed big, albeit expected, state victories, but were locked in a tight race. They were locked in a tight race for numerous key battlegrounds. It's too early to tell and too close to call a range of vital swing states, including Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, New Hampshire, Virginia, and North Carolina. A Kurdish Peshmerga fighter used his bulletproof BMW to rescue dozens of civilians who came under fire by the Islamic State in northern Iraq. The man drove 70 wounded soldiers and civilians to a hospital in the city of Kirkuk as ISIS gunmen showered his vehicle with bullets. Authorities in Iran have blinded a man to punish him for throwing chemicals in the face of a 4-year-old girl in 2009, the assault that destroyed her vision. The punishment was only the second time the Islamic Republic has implemented the eye for an eye legal provision, which was first approved in 1958. In business news, the government is planning a series of tax reforms, including the first ever progressive tax, which aims at reducing the burden and increasing the compliance of small and medium-sized enterprises that recently entered the real tax regime. The changes have already been rubber-stamped by the Council of Ministers and incorporated into the 2017 budget law that was submitted to the National Assembly last week for approval. The amendments are expected to pass and take effect in January. If approved, the progressive tax would replace the current flat tax of 20% on company profit with a sliding scale and 5 tax brackets. No tax would be imposed on small businesses reporting $3,000 or less annual net profit. Businesses with a profit of $3,001 to $4,400 would be taxed at 5%, while the next bracket of up to $25,000 would be taxed at 10% and at 15% for a profit up to $37,000. The full 20% corporate tax rate would apply only to businesses whose annual profit exceeds this level. Samsung's local authorized distributor is pushing through with a full recall of Galaxy Note 7 phones in Cambodia following continued reports of exploding batteries in the devices, including some replaced during the company's first global recall. The Cambodia branch of Thai Samsung Electronics announced that it had set up an exchange program to run from November 10th to 30th, urging Galaxy Note 7 owners to stop using the device immediately and return it for a substitute handset and cash. The branch's marketing and communications manager said that 1,320 Galaxy Note 7 units had been sold in Cambodia, though 97% of the devices had already been returned through the company's exchange program. While no incidents relating to the phone and its batteries have been reported in Cambodia, Sok Lang, the marketing and communications manager, expects the remaining users to return the devices given the company's favorable terms of exchange. Samsung Note 7 owners can exchange it for a different Samsung model and receive additional cash to cover the price difference or get a full refund of their original purchase. The company's Cambodian exchange program offers either the Galaxy S7 Edge with an additional $170 or the Galaxy Note 5 with $210 extra. This has been the Radio 1 News Update. Stay tuned for more news on Radio 1 FM 103.7.